Hello everyone, Cricket and Corky's Clubhouse coming at you with another unboxing video. Should change the name of my channel to Cricket and Corky's Unboxing Clubhouse. That seems to be the only content I have, but hopefully you watched my last video where I took a road trip up to Cleveland, Georgia, and checked out the birthplace of the Cabbage Patch Kids. That was a very cool, interesting day, and something very different. But this, as you will see, is something that is very familiar. The camera, I don't know, I had to use a different tripod. I'm up high because this thing is ginormous. It is just crazy. Big box. But hey, you know, that means there's probably some really good stuffing inside. So let's go ahead and see what we get. This was kind of a joint venture with one of my good friends. I didn't really need this, but they needed something that it comes with, so we worked out a deal together, and that is always fun to do if you can collaborate with a friend of yours that also collects, and that way you both mutually get something. So that's what this is. And the seller, let's see. Oh, that's right. That's nice. They wrote a little note. Said, I would love to know if it works. I tried batteries, but nothing happened. Thank you. Well, that's interesting that they tried it, but there's no tape. So it's not going to do anything if you just put batteries in it. But anyway, they had it packed differently, and thank goodness I reached out like I always do when I buy these now and say, hey, you know, here's the situation. I was getting a lot of broke parts on these at one point. I got tired of it, so I made a video on it, which you guys have probably seen, and then I started sending pictures, and I'm glad I did because I haven't got any broken ones since then. Knock on wood. But yeah, they had already packed it, and they were like, yeah, we put our legs crooked, and I was like, oh no, that's not good. So they were nice enough to actually unbox the whole thing and start over and pack her properly. So hopefully she does well. Box is a little big, but that's plenty of room for stuffing to go around the outside, so I can always appreciate that. I'm trying to see, they even labeled this is up, fragile, glass, I mean the whole works, so I definitely can appreciate that. I'm hoping I can just reach in here and maybe just pull, because there's a lot of stuffing. Maybe getting some kind of leeway. Oh, not what I'm after. Probably getting the camera full of bubble wrap. Goodness gracious. Yeah, I'm loving this. This is 17 pounds of bubble wrap. Oh, that's good though. I'm pleased with that. They get an A for effort for sure. Curious. Wonder if I can maybe try to lay this down. I'm gonna just check to see, because that thing that kind of made a thud, I don't know what is in there, if anything. Let's see, this tripod is way up in the air. Let's see if I can drop it down. You know, going on a ride here. Whee! Sorry, it's late and I'm a little loopy. Where did Okay. Well, I'm glad I went over there because it was something. All right. We're gonna try to do this sitting down now because it was just too high up in the air. She's still a little. I think I can still feel a little leeway in her legs, so hopefully they're good. Obviously, you guys know this is a jilt at this point. It's usually always a jilt. So kind of I've slowed down on jills, but like I said, this was kind of like a special request situation. And I've got a couple more of those potentially coming in the future. So Jill's not completely out yet. There was one that was recently posted on eBay, and they mimicked my posting and my sell price. And she did work, but I don't know how well she worked. I don't know what condition she was in, but someone else has figured out and got out there. I can't say imposter, but you know, because everyone's welcome to sell their jills, but it is not one of mine. You will know when I have one of my jills up for sale, and you know from my track record that I fix them and they are glorious, and it just takes me a while. So it's frustrating that I didn't get one up, because that one that was put up sold almost immediately, and that could have been one of my gals going out to a nice home. But life gets in the way, and I've mentioned before some of my adventures. Like I've been in school over the last couple years. I went back to get a degree, and I finished this summer. So I have officially started back into the workforce, and I am in a high salary role, so I am very busy. I am definitely fully working 40 plus hours. So I just don't know where I'm going to find time to work on anything anymore. So I started this journey during COVID. So the whole time I've done this whole collection, everything you've seen has been over the last few years. And now I'm going back into work for the first time, like full time. So it's just going to be a very different dynamic, and I don't know what that's going to look like. But I'm still going to try to be here as much as I can, and obviously still try to save as many jills as I can. I don't know. What I'm trying to do right now is save some of this bubble wrap, because it's fabulous and it looks new. Not that I don't have enough. So her legs are definitely still tilted. I'll show you. But she's interested. She's got like, you know, like that bandage tape like you put on, like it's cloth bandage, like to put patches on. She's wrapped in that. But I could almost set her up. She's definitely bent at the thigh and the knee. But I feel a lot of padding, so I'm gonna hope for the best. I don't hear anything rattling, but of course, you know, she's snug as a bug. So you took some of my advice, and at least she was wrapped like super crazy. I don't know what she's got in her hair. So I'm glad I checked that box that came flying out, because it made a thud, because that is a big part of this Jill's story. And when I got her, alright, it's late. I'm just going to cut this stuff, because I need to get her back on camera for you all. I'd rather do this in my lap, since she's boxed or packaged weird. I'd rather not take any precautions at a weird angle. what I can do is I will, seems like she is definitely wrapped. That is for sure. And she's not just like, she's wrapped in multiple layers of different types of bubble wrap. Struggle is real. Now, of course, like always, you know, I have some stuff on standby to give her a try. So the owner didn't have a tape, so they weren't able to test her. Or maybe she did have a tape. I don't remember. I'll run together now. I guess I should check that. Maybe that was a different deal. Alright, we're getting somewhere. I can almost see her. We've gotten down to the final layer, which I'm just going to cut because there's a lot of tape here. Okay. Alright, that's good. She's dirty there. So they did, you'll notice they did kind of listen here. So you see her joints are bubble wrapped. I usually go all the way up to the shoulders with the bubble wrap. She's got her neck brace on and her face is packaged. And then even at a bent angle, she still has knee braces on, and she's even packed that way. So, and her arms are okay, so that's good. Now the moment of truth, because that knee brace trick that I did is officially going to be tested here, because I've never had anyone send one that was jointed at the knees like that actually made it. But so far so good. She's definitely, this one was played with for sure. The lady said that it was her daughter's, and she packed it in the closet, and that's just where it's been for 100 years. So it definitely was played with, and judging by the outfit and well, all right, yeah, I guess her legs are good. They're a little loose, but they're not broke, so I'll take it. Now I need to try to maybe just slide this off of her arms. When I pack my gels, I always just use Scotch tape for these little fragile parts. That way you're not trying to get that giant, like, plastic shipping tape off of a little bitty tiny part. I just find that very problematic. So if you just use Scotch tape for these parts anyway, not the whole thing, Lord, but I find that works much easier. All right, so far she is good. Move her arms up. There she is. She's on camera. Remember, all of my things went here. Ah, of course, I left something in the other room that I needed. I'm not even sure where this begins and ends, so I'm going to take that off. Hey, that's where it ended. So it was all attached. Okay. Whew. Let's see. What are 14 minutes? So it almost took 14 minutes to unbox her. But there she is. So this is jewel number ? Don't know. But what's cool is she is one of those platinums. So platinums, as you know, just a light, almost white colored hair, and we don't know the origin of them or why they were that way. But you don't see them as often. Like, I've only seen a handful. I only have one in my collection, two, I don't know. But they're obviously, you can spot them a mile away. Their hair is very white. Her hair is super bad, very, very matted and dirty. And if this will even, I don't even know what this is. Someone was doing some braid work here at one point. So it's braided, and then wrapped in that, that is going to be super nightmare to get that out. Yeah, that's crazy times, but you know, kids do kid things, and that's okay. All right, let's see. That's right. So she does have a tape. First job. Wouldn't it be nice if that was the cheerleader tape? Starring role? Nah, we're never that lucky. I'm curious though now. Okay, whew. Shouldn't leave the batteries in there. I was like, oh no. She has corrosion, so boo. It is not horrible, so hopefully that could be remedied, but I don't know. Obviously she's got corrosion, so I don't know if she's going to turn on or not, but we will check that momentarily. So let's see what's in the bag. Turn this Jill around here on this crazy box. All right, so this Jill was interesting because she came with the first job tape, but she was wearing the mall outfit. So Jill goes to the mall, and that is what I kind of went in with a deal with, is that someone I know, a friend of mine, needs the mall outfit. I do not need the mall outfit, so we ended up, I got the Jill and they're getting the mall outfit, particularly these pants. So I offered the sweater and they were like, nah, which is fine, because that means eventually someday I'll be able to help someone else. Maybe, I don't even know how I ended up getting, I had these two and I sold them off, but I somehow ended up not having enough pants. So but these pants look good. Let me look here. We were worried because it looked like maybe there was like some kind of fray, but it looks like now it is just fuzz. They are in fine condition. I don't see any kind of rips or tears or anything. I mean, they definitely have been on her for a long time, so possibly could use a little washy wash, but these fade very easy when you put them in water. They bleed, so I don't recommend it. New owner. Maybe just do like a lint roll on them, and then if you want to like maybe take a rag because they're corduroy and like wipe them down, see what that gets you, but they will bleed for sure. Anywho, so she came with that, and then randomly her first job shoes. So the seller didn't have any of the other parts, so like she had the mall outfit, which means at one point the mall tape would have been there, but that was not anymore. And then she had the first job tape and the shoes, but not the first job outfit or any of the other parts. So it's interesting always to see like what survives, you know. So this Jill, obviously the last time she was played with, had the mall outfit on, and who knows what happened to the rest of it. She probably had these shoes on because they were pink and kind of go with the outfit. Actually look pretty good together. And yeah, the rest of it's just probably gone, and this tape probably survived because it was probably in her all this time. Looks like a pretty decent tape. Okie doke. So we're going to try her now, even though she does have corrosion. But I said a minute ago I left something. It was the rubbing alcohol. I had it in my hands before I got ready to do the video, and then I left it because, you know, ADHD, it's a thing. So I'm going to go grab that, and we're going to see if we can at least get her to turn on. And then she will probably go with the rest of my Jills waiting to be fixed. Okay. Oh. Look at that. I'm back. And do I have some of these? Okay. we're going to try to give her a little rubbing alcohol bath before we put the batteries in. So, you know, I've talked about this room so many times. It's so small, and every time I bring in a new doll, it gets smaller and smaller. But I may have mentioned, I may have not, I don't remember, but we are going to, not going to move, we're going to do some renovations, and in those renovations, I'm going to be blessed with a detached garage, and we are going to put a full giant space. It's going to be a 2-story garage, and I am going to turn the entire upstairs of the 2-story garage into my new workshop doll space. And it's big enough, like the design is kind of to be like an apartment, like a 1-bedroom apartment. So there should be plenty of room for all of these goodies over there. And it's, you know, going to be air conditioned, it's going to have central air and all of those new modern things. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. It's a very slow, very expensive process. We just got the land surveyed today. Like they go and they check your plots and figure out where exactly the corners of your land are, because, you know, that's the last thing you want to do is build a giant two-story garage and it ends up being on your neighbor's property. So we did that today and we got that done. So that's one step in the right direction. But it's still going to be a while. I'm going to be in this place for a good bit. But one day we're going to have that bigger space, and I am so looking forward to it because I miss the space I had when I was making all those previous videos. That was glorious, and I had a huge attic. So we're just gonna endure for now. Okay, I got most of it out. Now I just used rubbing alcohol. I didn't use any kind of like cleaner or vinegar, because like I said, it wasn't horrible. So hopefully it's enough to get a connection. I'm going to use a new long stem Q-tip, and I'm going to reach in there and clean her tape head because it is probably grimy. Never hurts to do that. All right, and then I'm going to not contaminate that one. It actually, I guess it got a little green came off from the corrosion. So all right, so we have done what we can there. I'm hoping, like I said, that she'll just go and she'll do her thing. If not, then I'll have to, you know, obviously take her apart at some point. And I'll be honest, that'll be a while. I dream of a day that I would be caught up where I could just work on a single Jill, but that is not the case because I'm going to try to rescue as many of them as I can. So if a Jill comes my way and ends up on my doorstep, not going to turn her down. All right. These A batteries, as you might know if I have mentioned, or if you have a Jill, the AA batteries, that was another one of her flaws, is they made them so incredibly difficult to get in there. They are like uber duper tight. Here we go. No room for error. That's why she has that little pink ribbon, because the little pink ribbon, as her shoe falls off, the little pink ribbon goes underneath the batteries. So now when I need to pull them out, I can just yank that ribbon and it'll pull out those AA's. Otherwise, you got to get a screwdriver and do your best. Okay, Miss Jill, we're loading up some batteries. I've had a pretty good track record, so I'm hoping that we continue. You know, give me at least some noise. I won't expect much else. But the lady did try batteries, and she did put a tape in, and it didn't work. So probably definitely a corrosion thing. And when you have corrosion like that, it's always difficult, because if it's in the D batteries and she's sitting like this or standing, that gravity takes acid down into the cassette area, right? So it ruins the cassette deck. If it's in the AA section, those holes go right onto the circuit board. So that's actually almost worse, because sometimes you can clean a cassette player, but you cannot fix that board. You know what? I'm gonna put in a regular tape before we try that first job. All right, let's see. Yep, she is given nothing. Not a thing. And the unfortunate thing is, I don't even hear. Yeah, she is definitely not working. And even stranger, could be something broke inside of her, because her tape, normally when you put in one of these tapes, you can feel it like slide into the groove and catch, and this isn't doing that. It's just in there, and I don't know what it's doing in there because I can't see. So normally when you get to this point, you have to take all her screws out and open the front, so then you can watch the tape go in and see what it's doing. Is it lifting up right? Another thing you can do is you can cheat and take this off. So I can try that real quick, because maybe her latch is not allowing the top to come up, and if that's the case, then there you go. So normally when you put it in, these two little levers pop this up and it goes boop, and that goes up in the air so you can read the tape. But that's just there basically to protect the cassette ribbon, so it can come off. Now I can try it, and it should go right to the tape head. Still nothing. Oh, maybe. I'm gonna get her closer. I may be just hearing something, but I'm gonna get closer here. No, I was just hearing wishful thinking. So, all right, well, you know, it happens. So this Jill is DOA, dead on arrival. Doesn't mean she's completely out of the count. Like I said, her corrosion isn't horrible. I've seen much worse, and I have come back from much worse. But unfortunately, she's not going to be one of those easy peasies where you can just pop tape in and assess the situation. She is going to need to be taken apart and go from there. But she is safe and sound now. She has found a new home, and I will definitely do my utmost best to get her voice going again at some point. So that is all for this video. Again, thank you for your patience as I run around and grab things and deal with 15 minutes of bubble wrap. Not doing the editing to pull that out with some catchy music and whatnot. You notice in my Cabbage Fetch video I added some audio, and that was because I had to edit with iMovie or whatever on iPhone. I had to edit that one because there were so many pieces, because I was there for so many hours, and I was doing my best not to intrude and like record people's kids and whatnot. They probably already thought I was crazy because I was in there for so long, but I ended up having to do that. So I was like, well, if I'm in here, I might as well add some music. But my normal videos is just hit record, see where we get, go from there. But anyway, that'll do it for this video. Obviously, if you have anything you'd like to say, like and comment down below. What if you think of the platinum hair? You know, do you have a Jill? What was the hardest outfit for you to find? Are you still looking for outfits? All those good things. But until the next video, we'll talk to you soon.